Merry meet, guys. Welcome back to Witches of the Moon. I am your Wednesday host, Houston, and this week we are talking about what makes me a witch. I want to apologize beforehand if you hear a noise in the background, and if it seems like I'm yelling, I promise you I'm trying not to, but I have my dishwasher going and it's kind of loud, so for that I'm sorry. So to delve right into it, what makes me a witch? I think working with the energies of everything around me to change my reality, to manipulate it to what I desire to happen, to come forth, to prevent, using tools, using myself just to make magic. You don't need any specific tools to work magic or to be a witch. All you need is yourself and a belief. Believing in a higher power that is multifaceted, and each facet of it is a different god or goddess. I think for me that's important, that all gods are one god, even though just different aspects of source. For me, being a witch means the practice of divination and getting further insight that you just can't look up on Google. You know, if you want to find something out, these days we just go and Google it. But there's some things in the future or in the past or in the present that we can't wrap our head around ourselves, and even talking to friends and family, they really can't give us the assistance that we need. And so we pull out our handy dandy tarot decks, oracle decks, crystals, pendulums, spirit board, or whatever, and most of the time they read us for filth, but they give us insight into what we really needed to know, not sugar-coated. I mean, some of us are blessed to have friends that don't sugarcoat their advice. They tell you what you need to hear instead of what you want to hear, and I've come to learn that friends like that are a blessing. What also makes me a witch is taking responsibility for what I do, what I put out in the world. I know that I'll get that back. Not really the law of three, because I don't believe in that. For me, the Wiccan Rede and the law of three, the Wiccan Rede's a beautiful, beautiful poem, but I don't abide by it. And I don't abide by the law of three return, what have you. I don't abide by that. But I do believe that whatever you do project out in the world will come back to you, however many times the universe kind of divides it to come back to you, or disperses it to come back to you. What makes me a witch is knowing that there's something after death. And I know that that's not just witch related, but knowing full-heartedly that when someone or something dies, that they're not gone, that they are still with us, that they're just in another plane of reality. They're in a different plane. It's basically it's the spirit plane, or the spirit world. They kind of phase out of this existence and go into a newer one. Whether it be whether you believe in the Summerlands, or Valhalla, or my brain just went whoop whoop, or heaven or hell, or Hades, or the Elysian Fields. I'm trying to think of a Celtic reference and I can't think of it. The Summerlands is Celtic. Whatever you believe in, going over the Rainbow Bridge, what have you, whatever you believe in. For me, I know my belief in the hereafter, since at the moment I've been faced with a lot of death in my family and in my partner's family. Knowing that, and understanding that this is not the last time we'll see them, that we'll have visits, being psychically attuned, not all psychics are witches, and not all witches are okay, to take the last one back. Not all psychics are witches. Like I said from my last video, I believe everyone has psychic abilities. It's just whether you tune into them and work on them enough to experience any results. So, for me, being a witch is enjoying those moments when you get to have a visit from your loved ones who've passed on. For me, being a witch is reading anything and everything magical related. As people know who's watched my channel, I haven't done this in a long time, just because of the move, and I haven't really have this problem of getting a book and reading it, and then another book catches my interest, and I dive off into that one, and the cycle continues. So I haven't really finished a book in a while, but I have have a series on my channel called The Book Witch, where I do reviews on magical books and tarot decks, and I have, in my opinion, a pretty good little library. So for me, being a witch is having a library of magical. So for me, this is just my opinion and how I feel. Having the magical library that I always wanted, and it's gonna continue to grow, thankfully, because there's all these awesome books out there, and being able to read other people's perspective on magic. For me, being a witch is shifting the paradigm of God, and no offense to anyone who is Christian, I don't mean this in any offensive way, but God the feared to God the companion, and Goddess the companion. I was Lutheran. I was raised Lutheran, but I wasn't really raised in like a hellfire damnation church. But there were things that just didn't jive with me, and I was taught to be a little bit fearful of God. And that all changed when, I kind of broke that paradigm, broke that way of thinking that now the gods, for me, they're my companions. They're a father figure, they're a brother, they're a friend, they're sometimes, they're my grandfather, and I say this in males, but also like my mother, my sister, grandmother, but they also can be divine entities where they show themselves, where they give you that awe-inspiring presence. How I work with my deities, and like I've said before, I don't bow down and worship any deity or any spirit I work with, and the way I work with them is I walk with them side by side. What makes me a witch is I believe that I am my own God, that we are all part of the divine. Speaking more to the divine, and what makes me a witch is how I view Source, in my opinion, the source of all, the higher power, those who, in other terms, called God. I believe Source is multifaceted, and that every facet is a different deity. So all gods, in my opinion, are one God. And these are just my theories on what makes my practice my own. That's what makes me a witch. My craft, my belief, my faith is what makes me a witch. Also, quite frankly, what makes me a witch is because I call myself a witch. Well, a wizard, but I call myself a witch. Plain and simple. Anything else? I don't think there's anything else I want to add to that. So, hope you guys enjoyed my video, and if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or want to put down in the comment section what makes you a witch, please leave them down below for me in the comment section. And until next week, many blessings.